Hello guys, today's tutorial is meant for you as we shall be discussing how to split text in Microsoft Excel. This topic is very important because I believe that one way or the other, you must have encountered a case or a scenario where this knowledge is highly required. And I hope that at the end of this video, you will have learned how to use the text to column option, the text split function, the text before function, and the text after function. You don't want to miss this tutorial, and that is why you need to watch to the end. I remain your host, Olani Shofunwa. We start with the text to column option. Imagine we are given these text values and we are asked to split it into multiple columns that is quite readable and meaningful. The easy approach for us is to type out this one by one, as we can see. But you and I know that this can be an arduous task, especially when we have a long list to deal with. And that is where Microsoft Excel comes in. Don't forget, Excel is here to make your life easier. And in Microsoft Excel, there is this option of text to column that we can use. But before we can use the text to column, the text to column option is such that it's able to split a single column of text into multiple columns. But before we use this text to column option, let us know when we look at our text value, each of these attributes is separated by an hyphen. Between Emily and Johnson, there's an hyphen. Johnson and address, there's an hyphen. The address and the email address, there's an hyphen. The email address and manager, there's an hyphen. So that shows us that the delimiter in this particular example is the hyphen. Now, since we have identified that, so the next thing that we need to do is to select the column, which is column A, whose text we want to split. Then from our Excel worksheet, from the home tab, we locate the data tab. From the data tab, we locate the text to column option. So once I select the text to column option, it pops up this window. From this window, we select the delimited formula, the delimited option. We go to next. Now, out of the delimiter, don't forget that earlier on, this particular example, the delimiter that we are given is the hyphen. And so there are different delimiter that can be used here. In this case, we have the semicolon, the comma, the space, and others. Since in this particular example, the delimiter is an hyphen, so we select others and we put in a hyphen, which is the delimiter. We can see from this data preview that the text has been splitted already. Then we go to next. We go to then from there we go to finish. As we can see that in this case our text is splitted. So so we can see here that we have the first name, the last name, the street, the email address, the position, and the nickname. So that is how to split text with a click of a button. And I believe that this is very easy and straightforward for us to do. Let's look at another example. So this is another example that we are asked to do, to split this text into multiple columns. But in this case, when we look at it critically, the delimiter here is empty space. Between Emily and Johnson, there's a space. Johnson and 1985, there's a space. So that tells us that the delimiter in this case is the space. So like I said, you must identify the delimiter in the text value. So the approach is we select the column to split. Then from our Excel worksheet, we select the data tab. And from here, the text to column option. The text to column option. So once we select our text to column option, it pops up this window. Our delimited option is selected. We go to next. Now, don't forget that in this particular example, each of these attributes is separated by space, and the space is our delimiter. So in this option of delimiter, we'll select space. In the first example that we did, the delimiter is hyphen. That is why we select others and we'll type in our hyphen. But this time around, the delimiter is space. So once we select space, from the data preview, we can see that Excel has splitted the text into multiple columns. and we go to next and finish. So from here also, we can see that our text value is separated into first name, last name, the date of birth, email address, manager, just the way we want it to do. So this is how to use the text to column option, and I believe that it is straightforward and easier for you to do. Just identify the delimiter in between in between your text, and the text to column option will do justice to the rest. So the next thing that I also want to learn in this tutorial is how to use the text split option, the text split function. The text split function is also, so in case we do not want to go through the route of using a text to column option, then Microsoft Excel has also given us another alternative to use the text split function. In this case also, we identify the delimiter. And for this particular example from row 2 to row 11, you can see that the delimiter here is the hyphen. So we call in our text split function. Don't forget that if we don't want to use the text to column option, then we can use the text split function. When we call in our text split function, the syntax is the text that we want to split. Then we'll specify the delimiter. And in this case, the delimiter is hyphen. So from here, here we can see that in this case, the Microsoft Excel has splitted the text. As we can see, very easy and straightforward. Using the text split function, the text value has been splitted into several columns. That is the first example. Another example that we also want us to see this is from row 14 to row 25. But in this case, also we pay attention to the delimiter in this example. And when we look at it very well, the delimiter in this case is decimal point, is full stop. That is the delimiter. So let's call in our text split function. They will select the text. Then the next thing is to select our delimiter, which is decimal point. Then we look at it. Our text value has been splitted just the way we want it. We can see that this is very simple and easy for us to use. So it's either we use the text to column option to split our text value, or we use the text split function to split our text value. So either of the two is very straightforward and simple for us to use to split the text values. Then the third function that we also want to also consider in this tutorial is the TEXTBEFORE function. Earlier on in one of my videos, we talked about how to extract data, how to extract text, a character or a specific number of characters from a text value. Whereby we talk about the right, the left, and the mid function. Another way to, if we don't want to use the right, the left, and the mid function, then that is where we can use the text before or the text after function. So in this case, the task is to extract the text that is before the hyphen. So we use the text before, then we select our text, then the delimiter, in this case our delimiter is hyphen. So what this means is that with this particular function, it will extract any text that is before the hyphen. And in this case, the text before function has extracted the NG, which is the country code. If I replicate this down the line, we'll see that this particular function has extracted the text before the hyphen. The task 2 is also to extract the text before the delimiter. But in this particular task 2, the delimiter is the full stop. So we call in our text before function. We select the text, and the delimiter is full stop. So in this case, this function has succeeded in extracting the first name, which is before the delimiter. This is very easy for us to use the text before. It will extract any text that is before the delimiter. And the last function that we're going to consider in this tutorial is the text after. Just the same way the text before we extract the text that is before the delimiter, the text after function we extract the text that is after the delimiter. In this case, when we employ our text after function, I will select the text. Our delimiter is hyphen, and we succeeded in extracting the city name. So when we replicate this down, this text after function has succeeded in extracting the city name. This is very straightforward and easy for us, rather than because in our earlier video we use the combination of the left, the length, and the right function to extract this city name. But with this text after we extract anything that is after the delimiter. So the last example that we are going to consider is for task 2. I'm also going to use the text after function. So we select our text, and in this case our delimiter is the full stop. So our delimiter has succeeded. This function has succeeded in extracting the everything that is after the delimiter. So this is how to use this function. I believe once again that these functions are straightforward and easy for us to use. You will find this function very useful and valuable in your day-to-day tasks. Thank you for watching this video to the end, and I believe you learned something, and you'll be able to apply this knowledge to split any text in Microsoft Excel. Don't forget to like this video, share it to your network, and engage me in the comment section below. And if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do so now. Click on the subscribe button below and put on the notification bell so that you will be aware when I drop the next video. Kindly check out my channel for other tutorial videos which I believe will be valuable to your day-to-day tasks. And don't forget, the objective of this channel is to help you to become a Microsoft Excel maestro. Thank you, and see you in the next class.